Hi everyone, hope you're all well. This is Warren and I'm joined with Ivana, and we have an amazing discussion for you for our SEO Club channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and today's topic we're actually going to discuss something that's quite hot right now in the world of SEO is how do you start or how do you rank a new relatively unknown website in 2024. We know it's been quite tough this past year. Ever since the helpful content update last year, Google has been pushing update after update, and it's been always a bit unclear as to what it is changing. We had the March updates, which were huge, and I think it's a bit of a confusing time if you're just starting out with a new website, or if you've inherited websites that have previously been affected by the algorithm. What do you do? Where do you start? And that's the topic that we have planned for you today. Ivana, you are obviously big time in the loop in these discussions, right? It's something that you have covered in the channel as well in the past. What are your general thoughts about it so far?
First of all, I would like to say thank you for having me, but then I realized it's our channel. So
It is our channel.
fantastic,
We can be more
actually to
relaxed.
discuss something as a discussion, not only as me talking on my points. But yes, this is a hot topic. We're talking about it in our channel, in lots of other conferences and podcasts. So where would I start? Google is going crazy with the updates. I don't think they really knew what they're doing with the helpful content update. That's still unclear and very unhelpful. And I think they're trying to make sure they get the helpful content, whatever that is, because AI content got punished, but not all of it. Some of it actually got rewarded. So it's very difficult to understand what Google wants from us. Are we starting with the completely new website, or are we just going to brush off the March update,
Yeah,
killing
let's
websites, and then
start
go
with
to new websites?
let's start with you want to so you're in charge of launching a new operator casino or a new affiliate website. Like, where do you start? Let's consider kind of the three pillars, so to speak, of search, right? So you have your technical setup, your sort of bare bones of the website, you have your content, and you have your off page.
First, start with checking which market I want to do, because I still believe you can rank in any market. You can do Canada or Sweden that is super saturated. It's going to take time, it's going to take more money, it's going to take more work, but you can do it. And I would consider maybe going to markets that are not that saturated, not that extremely difficult. Maybe if you are very daring, not even regulated markets, those are always good to attack. That's where the money is. So maybe you want to do unregulated Germany. That is sort of okay. Africa is on rise, so I would look into that. It's not that difficult to rank. Okay, the CPAs or commission is going to be lower, but it's still money and probably easier to get than in Ontario. I would consider the new countries that are coming, like Vietnam, Thailand, all of this, instead of the extremely saturated. But think of the market where you want to go. Think of what's your budget. Think of what's your time scale. Like, you want to rank tomorrow, don't do it. You have 6 months, consider markets that are not that difficult. You have 3 years, consider difficult markets. But you need to know what's your time when you want to actually see return on investment. As well, I would check if similar name exists. So let's say you want to be called Queen Casino, but maybe that already exists. So go to the market you want to be. You want to be Canada, and you see that Queen Casino, Queen Casinos, Queen Slots, and Queen's Betting already exist. Don't go for that name. It will be difficult, first of all, to rank. Second of all, it will be very confusing. Go for original name, but go for branding if you possibly can. So maybe go for Gamble Queen. You know, just try to be original, but check if your name is potentially easy to rank for as well, because then you can go for a very difficult name, gambling, and you already have gambling.com. You can call yourself super gambling, and you're not going to rank. So I would consider that before doing anything else. And when it comes to technical setup, well, right at you. What would you do for casino or for affiliate?
I mean, you've just to go back on one of the points you said, like with picking a name, right? And you mentioned one important thing, which is the branding. And I think we kind of went back a bit in old school marketing, where the brand has again become like super important and relevant to what we're doing. And I think that's a very good first step. You mentioned also going into unregulated markets, and there I think the technical setup is very important. So having a good infrastructure where you're taking care of the hosting and managing the hosting on your own team, that would be very good to ensure that your servers are capable for handling traffic. They are providing easy access to Google bots. You're not blocking anything accidentally, any particular geographies accidentally as well. We know that one of the things that Google is pushing for and has been pushing for a while is the accessibility of the website. So if Google is even having a hard time accessing your site, your users are never going to potentially even find the site. So it will definitely not rank. And oftentimes, particularly if you're an operator, right, you're stuck with whatever platform you have.
Oh, yes.
So I would say run technical audits frequently, and plan and push those changes up the chain of changes as much as you can. We know it's always a bit of a battle. Like, products always have a lot of things on their plate, but for SEOs, I think it's important to be able to explain also the business cases behind pushing those technical updates. I think it's we focus a lot about the skill of the SEO and doing the SEO work, but a lot of the work comes also with being a good team player and being able to be a good salesman to push whatever for your website. And then you would consider things like, I don't know, if you're using Cloudflare, for example, you can block off certain countries to avoid unwanted traffic, keeping your site loads lower. There are many plugins, if you're using the WordPress platform, that are going to speed up your website, organize your website better. We often just mention Yoast, but there are so many other plugins in addition to Yoast which will help make the technical setup of your website much better. The theme engine that you're using, there are themes that are specifically built to be lightweight, is obviously what Google will want. And monitor your core web vitals. Do tests on GT metrics, see how your platform is performing. I think, with technical, you have to go to the basic. There's nothing extraordinary on the technical side that needs to happen. It's just you need to keep up that consistency. As your website keeps growing, as you keep adding content, the website is gonna bloat. So then you need to consider, are all your pages still relevant? Do you need to 301 older pages to new ones? Do you need to drop them off completely? Monitor the 404s, that sort of stuff.
Basically, when you think of it, technical SEO is simple in its essence because it just needs to work, but it's very difficult to get there. And I think
It's
when you are
difficult for
setting up,
execution.
make sure that you choose a platform that is SEO friendly. There are some that are built to be SEO friendly, but some are just not. Especially be careful with Sportsbook, I would say, because that is just, you know,
That's always an interesting
parameters and
one.
iframes and all of that. And if you want it, you just need to be clever about that. I have one question here for you because we are at a technical setup. Do you think the WordPress theme you select actually can somehow change your rankings, can affect that? Like if this theme is used too much, is that
It
going to
does
be a bad
matter.
effect or is it not going to be? Should you have an original theme? Should you try to build your own theme?
If you have the skills in-house to build your own team, that's always good, because you're fully in control of what that team is doing. So it's not only from the layout point of view and from user experience, but even at technical level, you avoid a lot of bloat. Keep in mind, when you're buying ready-made themes for WordPress, they're not built specifically for iGaming, which is a very competitive niche, but everyone with a business might want to use particular themes. So built into them, they will have a lot of functionality, some of which you can turn off from the backend, but some is baked into the theme itself. And sometimes the more a theme looks fancy and has animations and it looks pleasing to the eye, it is also going to be a bit heavy. When it comes to loading the resources for that theme, it's going to load unnecessary resources. So my approach with picking a theme for a new website that we're building, I always typically go something that is very lightweight, unless I have the capacity to build a theme in-house. And I notice the difference when it comes to speed tests, because I've ran with websites that both have really nice, really aesthetically pleasing, complex themes with moving carousels and animations and whatnot. All of that looks fantastic. And then bare bones themes, which do the job. and they still look, somewhat minimalistic, somewhat clean. And the speed insights scores or GT metric scores do affect. Now, when you consider that you have a heavy team and you have potentially thousands of visitors accessing the same server using the same team, the load on the server inevitably will increase as well. So it's all going to slow down your website. And Google is there in the mix. Google is crawling your site as well. That is what we wanted to do. So if Google happens to be crawling at a point where your server is being overloaded, sometimes Google cannot even access the pages that you want Googlebot to access because of crawl budget limitations as well. So the faster you can serve it pages, the more it's going to go through.
True, and I think when you get a ready theme, those are great. I mean, there are some great, but it's lots of cleanup because you have got all the things you actually don't want. So before you actually can start to use it, it looks like ready theme, easy, I can start tomorrow, but you have weeks of cleaning up because you find out that, oh, this is popping out. And after a few weeks being live, you get this pop out and you just don't know. And as well, when you look at any market that is really, really ranking, those themes that they're using, they are WordPress, even if house built, but they are super simple. Like there is no top graphic, there is not anything fancy. It's just let's go and let's sell. And in the end, when you come there and you want to claim bonus, you just want to be a click away. You don't really want to go through a movie about how this slot was created.
Exactly.
As simple as
And
possible.
you have to keep in mind as well, probably also often overlooked by SEOs, how does your team function on mobile and particularly on older devices? Like if I always have the latest phone. It's an obsession of mine, but I realize that most people do not have this crazy obsession to buy the latest
I don't. Mine
technology.
is blue. I don't even know what type it is. That's how technical I go when it comes to phones.
I mean, you have to adapt your website to a variety of devices, and particularly you mentioned certain upcoming countries like Vietnam, like Africa. It's important to research what type of devices are most popular in those countries. Do you want to optimize your website for a particular viewport, a particular screen size of phone? Or are you going for more high-end markets where you can afford to have that?
Or are they still in desktop? Like if you do bingo, you're going to have desktop. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I think even identifying that target market is crazy important. And
Exactly.
what do you do
so
in
starting
content?
the new website is not just being SEO, it's being a psychologist behind that, thinking how my customer is going to do.
Yeah.
And if you are a small team, you need to think for lots of people. If you have a huge team of people that can help with research, that's one thing. But let's be honest, SEOs are not gifted with huge teams. They rely on us knowing everything, being all in one, the perfect pack if you are an SEO. You need to know it all.
Absolutely. And what do you do with content? I mean, how do you create new content for casino? It's been done. It's been done over and over.
It's been done. It's both for affiliate, both for casino. But now I have a really good colleague in our live casino, and he is sharing with me our exclusive games. So we get actually an original content from that, and I think that could work really nicely. We are just starting to work on that. But as it's exclusive and we're going to have it as an exclusive game for a certain time, he gives it to me in an advance and I can work with it. And once I have it live, obviously SEO is not going to make the magic in a week. So I can work with my social media team and they can give it a push. So I don't have the data yet. I think we need to have another episode once my data is in. Mm-hmm. But I think this is a way to go. You work with the other departments because the one that SEOs can do, the evergreen content, what is roulette? What is football betting? Nothing original. But if you work with your other teams,
has written that
to them, you speak to your VIPs and to your casino team and sports betting team. They know things you don't because you're not an expert in casino. He gave me some content. I was like, is this 3 games or 1 game? I'm this good with it.
Yeah.
So you can come up with original content this way because you have got so many people, experts, and you don't know their expertise. So working with other teams is where you get good ideas and when you get an original content.
Agreed. I do have a problem with how we use content in iGaming. I mean, most of the times we either reserve it to the blogs or to the very bottom of content of product pages. So if I put myself in the customer's shoes and even consider how I use other services and so on, I typically would not be interested in reading that content. If I'm in the product page, then I want to play the product. I'm not interested in reading about what the slot is and so on. unless it's providing something useful. So even maybe when we're considering, if this is building a new website, integrating the content better to be part of the product, I think can offer even more value. Because if your rules of a particular slot or the pay lines are at the very bottom of a page where you have to scroll endlessly to get to, and it's detracting you from using the product, then it's also not a good user experience. And I see
True.
many casinos doing this mistake where, the
Most.
content is more of an afterthought. For site launch, most of the content is not even ready. Typically the homepage and the main lobby pages are ready, and some of the best slots, because that's sometimes honestly all we have time for. But by design, I think there can be better work done with how to integrate content. Because oftentimes we just think of content as that long paragraph at the bottom of a page.
Absolutely. I think we all do that. We are all guilty of the same mistake because in the end, we write this content for bots. I mean, let's be honest, I don't
Yeah.
expect my customers to scroll down and read about the wonderful content that we have about what is online casino. They don't care. They want to play. So yes, we are guilty of that. And as well, we put them usually in crawlable accordions, right? We actually hide them.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's just there. Hopefully it's crawlable enough. Google will find it and crawl it. But for humans, it's just hidden. So if you are really interested, click on it. But if you go to your data, how many people clicked on it? That'll be tragically low number. And recently, I actually read a report that if you remove hidden content, such as from crawlable accordions or read more, um, Google can rank this content 12% higher. So I want to run the test to see if that's true. I'll share that link with you. It's really, really good research
Interesting.
with very small things that can change it. So I'm all up for changing that. But you need to again sell it to your product and to your C level and explain them all why you want to do this. And if you are blessed and your manager is previous SEO, it's going to be yes. If not, it's going to be why. So once again, the communication.
It does make a difference, yes. And I guess the last point to touch upon on this specific topic is links. Do you still find relevancy in building any backlink? I'll start a bit off from what I've been observing. I think just looking again at buying a link, even from one of the best websites, unless that link is getting traffic, the value of that link is nowadays not that great.
We still do a lot of links. I think all of us do because it is what we are used to doing. And I
Yes.
don't think the thinking changed enough to think, is this a good link? We try to does it have some metrics? A lot of time people just want to see the DR high or the traffic high and they don't think it's manipulated. So links, yes, of course. I'm guilty of doing that. I think we all are of buying and getting links to our websites one way or
Yes,
another.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I think we need to start thinking what is good link in 2024. I don't think link building is going anywhere, but I like the relevancy because obviously the entities and topicality. And then, as you said, from huge publications to actually get traffic on it. So maybe you need to build links to your link.
Yes. I think, I mean, from what I've seen with starting new websites, just buying links, even, I mean, the process didn't really change. As you said, we're still doing most of what we have been doing for a long time. But the uptake of how fast a website is starting to rank versus a couple of years ago from just link building, I see much less impact on that. Whereas when I'm placing links, it could even be Twitter social posts, for example. I consider that still technically a link because that link is getting traffic. And when I notice traffic coming from Twitter referrer, essentially, the rank increases because Google is seeing that signal of user engagement, of a customer, potentially going through a website. And most link building, yes, I don't think it will be completely phased out. Absolutely not. But I think we need to start thinking a bit more creatively of what we can actively do in order to have link placements. Should we consider Twitter more? Should we consider Reddit? Community forums that are related? And you mentioned topic relevancy. Absolutely, because that is what gets you traffic, right?
Absolutely. Actually, I saw recently a website. It's in German illegal market. And this guy is ranking really good for branded names of the non regulated casinos only on a testimonial links. So the relevancy there is extremely high. He has got not one link that is bought that is different than a testimonial, and is ranking really, really good. So fantastic. The relevancy obviously is more important than ever. So if you are
Yeah,
starting your affiliate website, maybe consider testimonials as a way of getting links. They are for free, and it can give you some traction.
absolutely. And I mean, keep in mind also when it is launching a new website, in the very beginning, SEO is not going to be the main acquisition channel. So, considering these other sources where, I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword because let's say, for example, you mentioned the testimonial links. If suddenly those testimonials stop coming through, then the ranking of that website will go down because, the
Of course,
double-edged sword
it's
with
one
having
of things
social
you can
links.
put in.
Yeah. And they need to be recent. They need to be like much more frequent than how we typically do link building. So I think, Google is trying to take away that like power that we have on manipulating link building and
Good luck.
turning it a bit more into traffic, I would say. But even that technically can be manipulated.
Everything can be manipulated. I mean, SEO is just always going to think of how to manipulate and how to trick the system. It's in our blood.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
it's basically the job is to try to rank better any way you can, and that's how we created black hat techniques. And some of them are actually amazing when you look at it. Like, wow, how did they come up with that? Some are like, what? So yeah, I think links will be important. I just don't like the fact that most of us are doing link for the sake of doing links. I acquired 10 links. I can report on that. Did it bring anything? We forget to report on that.
Yeah, and it's also very hard to report on that. Any other recommendations, Ivana? What would you do? And anything that's outside of these kind of three pillars?
Absolutely. I would look into one of the best search engines for 2024 was YouTube. They named it as one of the best and upcoming search engines. So try to maybe play around there. There is so much potential. You get traffic, it's free. You just need to be creative. So I would use some other place, to get the traffic going and to give a signal that there is a human behind it, not just bot creating a content or buying stupid links. Creating something with value. Use, as you said, as well Reddit. You can try Reddit. Why not? I created a video how to try to get traffic from Reddit. Or but YouTube is something that I really like. I'm really looking into it. It's a very similar optimization. So
Yes.
I think if you are clever and you're creative, you can actually take a lot from that and help your website rank. And as well, through the March 2024 update, we know that websites that dropped the most were new websites and websites without any other traffic source than just SEO. Which obviously for lots of
Absolutely.
affiliates, SEO is the only traffic, but you can do SEO traffic through other sources than just Google. So I think you need to think outside of box in 2024 and in 2025 definitely.
I think that's a that's a fantastic point. We spend so much effort on creating our content, but we should spend equal effort in pushing that content out, getting that content visibility outside of waiting for Google to take its sweet time to crawl a new website and rank it. It's not going to magically appear in position one just from
Absolutely.
doing SEO.
And with all the problems Google lately had with indexing new pages, you just need to get the
Yeah,
traffic somewhere else, get the engagement somewhere else. You cannot rely on Google only. I mean, obviously, we all rely on Google and we all pray to Google, and that's not changing anytime soon fully. But we need to start to think of if we don't want to, all meet in a cemetery, we all need to think of how to stay relevant.
absolutely. One thing I would add to kind of finish off this topic, you also mentioned and referred to it, where SEOs kind of need to be able to do it all. And I think the key point there is also with understanding data. We need to be experts in understanding trends, what customers want. We need to be experts in looking at analytics, understanding which pages are converting, which pages are giving us most of the traffic, and why this is happening. So we can also, be able to replicate that across the rest of the website. And it's when you're starting particularly a new job, you need to have Google Analytics understanding, but the importance of that is, I think, severely understated. So analytics, search console, measuring data, measuring, from user click to conversion, what is happening, that is an essential skill for SEOs to have.
Absolutely. And when you touch up on the important pages, understand what's ranking, what's not, as well, I think one thing to keep in mind is don't just produce content. Obviously, produce content. Google likes new content. But if you have a pages that are ranking really well, yet are not in top 10, those are the ones you want to groom. You just don't want to publish a new piece if you can do this much and push your page to top 10. So work on existing paging. And I think this is something people stop doing. They just like, okay, we're going to release 20 new articles today, 20 new articles tomorrow, and we're going to get 300 links. But they stop grooming the pages that could rank. They groom the top page because it's in position 7 and they want to go to top 3, but they forget the top 20 pages that are between 11 and 20 and can
Yeah.
potentially get to top 10 and increase your traffic. So cleaning, grooming, constantly improving existing pages is something that lots of people stop doing. They're just like,
Yes,
oh, it's ranking somewhat.
and that's the easy thing to pick up, because if a page is ranking in the second, third, or fourth page, or even beyond, Google has seen some value to it. It's just
But this is
missing
the data.
something
If you
compared
don't
to
see the
others.
data, if you cannot
Yes.
analyze the data, you don't know it's there. So
Yeah.
this is the value of data. So exactly
Yeah.
your point. We need to know it all, including data.
Yeah. Ivana, last question for you. If you're competing in a very competitive market, a very saturated market, how do you compete with the big guys when you're just starting out? Is there one thing that you think works above all?
First of all, when you think of the big guys, they became slow. They are that big that they stop being agile. So you can still be agile. You can still add something original. Like don't just do casino reviews Ontario that everybody has done. Try to think of something else. I don't know. Link it all to Trustpilot and see here how trusted it is, or do most trusted casinos, but actually really do trusted casinos. Don't do just like, okay, this one is paying me bigger commission, so I'm gonna say they're trusted even though they scam their people. Give it an edge that will withstand, obviously. And then consistency. You're not going to rank overnight. You need to be consistent. You cannot give up. If there is a Google update and you see volatility and drops, go back and clean up. Just don't give up. Consistency. That's one thing that is SEO thing that is so overlooked and so underrated. If you are SEO that wants to rank tomorrow and gets disappointed that it didn't happen, or you pick up one penalty and you give up, then you are in the wrong field. So consistency for me.
Agreed. I think often SEO is like having a friendship in a way. It's not always going to be good time. And I think right now with what Google is throwing at us, we're going in kind of through a rough patch, but we can
For a while,
always
for a
figure it
while.
out. If you keep working at it, if you keep that consistency and dedication towards, doing the ongoing work, and it will take time. You will not rank higher than a very big brand in the first few months. But I think it is possible if the consistent work is being done. And looking at those areas where they have keywords ranking, big competitors have keywords ranking, but they may be not at the top because they don't have the time, they don't have the resources to dedicate to them, because they're focusing on the high tier keywords, which are typically the most expensive. So there's a lot that big operators or big affiliates will also be missing out on. And I think that's where
Absolutely.
a new casino can latch on.
Exactly. They just do the main casino keywords, main betting keywords, and they're done. They don't think of so many other things in the smaller keywords, because longer the keyword, right? Long tail keyword, longer the one, better conversion. And they just forget those. They're just, okay, let's just do the online casino, and casino online comes with the nature of a job. You need to report, and the C level doesn't care for something that has got search volume of 10. They want to be on the big ones. It's
Absolutely.
ego game as well. So you are
It
right.
is.
There's so many other things you can do that can bring you traffic, and then you can start to make money and then go for the higher and bigger keywords. But again, it needs patience and it needs constant work, and it's not for everyone.
That's true. Okay, I think that is a wrap for today's topic. Guys, if you do like the content or if you have any feedback for us, please feel free to comment. Ivana and I will be looking at those and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys
And
have.
removing the bad ones.
And removing the bad ones, of course. We are SEOs, we're going to do that. Like and subscribe for more videos as well. That really helps the channel out. And we'll be with you next week with another video, because we're always creating here.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye bye.